kind of going over this De'Aaron Fox thing. And I know a lot of people, including myself and yourself, a lot of us think that De'Aaron is going to play. We all know beyond a shadow of a doubt, De'Aaron's going to do everything he can to play. But we've kind of, okay, this sucks. This is bad news. But we all think that he's going to play. All I ask everybody is if he doesn't, don't fault him for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's a number of things that could come into play that aren't about being a gamer, that aren't about, pain tolerant. Some of it could just boil down to he can't effectively do his job. He can't put this team in a position to win because of the restrictions that he has. So while I'm all for it, hell, let's try to will this thing into existence. Let's keep talking about it. I think De'Aaron's going to go. I think De'Aaron's going to go. But let's all be understanding if he can't. And be understanding that if he can't, it's because it's in the best interest of probably himself. But I'm guessing in De'Aaron's case, he's going to feel like it's in a better interest of the team to let Davion and Terrence and Malik and those guys kind of group handle that one spot and expect Keegan Murray, do what you did on Sunday. Kevin Huerter, I don't know where you been, but I need Kevon. I need Red Velvet. I need that 40% shooter. I need that 200-plus made threes guy. I need you this game. We're going to have 18,000 people screaming for us. We got that on lock. There are some guys who have got to step up. We've got to do it. I said this perfectly. Kings got to do what the Warriors did. You got to have guys playing above their average. Not 2, not 3. You need to have 5 playing above their averages. And most importantly, you need to have Domas playing above his average.
Yeah.
Because he's well below it right now.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and with that, at home, I still like where they are. So let me ask you the question that I threw out before the break. Has the last 2 games changed your opinion on this series?
Not before this news.
So the De'Aaron Fox news has a more bigger impact than anything on the court.
Last night there was a question that somebody asked. It said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what was your confidence level of the Kings winning? Of the Kings, the way he worded it, it was like scale 1 to 10. What's your confidence level of the Kings being able to win the series? I said 10. Absolutely, they can win the series. I'm not shaken by that at all. If you would have said, will they win this series? Maybe it's a little lower. Maybe it's like 8, maybe 7. But I still thought they were going to win the series. Because it is so late in the series. Right now, I still think they can find a way to get 2 games. If Fox can't go, if Fox is hampered, I still believe that they can find a way to get 2 games. If this happened before game 1, they needed 4 games or 3. I don't know. That's a lot to ask. I think they could get 2 games. I really do. So this Fox injury has had more of a impact on my confidence level than what we saw over the weekend.
Okay.
How about you?
Yesterday's game had a little impact on me because one thing, and I've been thinking about this since the moment that shot hit the back of the rim. And I think we even discussed this, maybe not you and I, but I was discussing this with some people at Sky River Casino. I can't help but feel like the Warriors took a haymaker from the Kings. Stick with your boxing analogies. I feel like they took a massive punch from the Kings, and they just took it. Just took the punch. Like the Kings threw what they had at him. You finally got something going from Keegan. You had a solid performance from Davion. You had a solid performance from Malik. You had your bench again outplayed theirs. You had 38 from De'Aaron. You hit on not all cylinders, but a lot of cylinders. And the Warriors took it and won.
Yeah, and I would say I would disagree. I didn't give him a haymaker.
No?
They gave him a nice punch, but you had your 3 starters did one starter in Sabonis didn't do much of anything.
So
Harrison Barnes didn't play well at all. Kevin Huerter played worse than that.
But how much of that is the story of the series, though?
But
like that's what I'm starting to look at is this series. Like I avoided the term hitting on all cylinders because they're not, and I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if they're going to hit on all cylinders at any point in the season. Doesn't mean they can't win 2 of the next 3 games. It means there's whether it more likely, in my opinion, at this point, I think it's going to be Domas. I think you can continue to get quality, really, really quality minutes from Malik and really, really quality minutes from Davion. Davion feels like he is in a groove in this series. Probably make the argument with the exception of game. Malik is too, with the exception of game 3. Malik is too. But whether it's like, I don't know that we're going to get the game where Harrison, Keegan, and Kevin Huerter are all playing well. I don't know if that game's coming.
But it might not be coming, but you don't need all of them to play with. Really what happened last night was the points were just allocated differently. Like Harrison Barnes has had 17, 19-point games while Murray and Huerter combined for 5, right? Last night, Barnes, I think, had 7. Keegan had 23. Huerter gave you 2. We're thinking like, oh, we got the Keegan Murray game. Well, Harrison Barnes didn't show up. Harrison Barnes 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. So at the end of the day, the points were just allocated differently.
And you're confident you can get all of that.
All you need is 2 of them and Sabonis. Like that's part of the equation too. I don't need Sabonis to go crazy, but he's played below his averages. Play at your average or above that, and you get, in this particular case,
if Domas scores his average yesterday, the Kings win by 2.
They win, and you still have Kevon not playing good. You still got Harrison Barnes not playing good. All you did was, like I said, the points got allocated a different way. Instead of Harrison, it was Keegan who hit it that day. If Sabonis is playing at his averages or above, you win that game. And that's why I said it's a good punch because Davion played really well. You know, Fox had his 38. It's a good punch. It's not the kitchen sink. It's not everything they got. I feel like the Warriors.
No, and again, I didn't say everything they have.
I didn't think it was a haymaker. I thought it was just a good. They played a good game.
Disagree. Okay.
They played good enough to win. They didn't win, but there was a lot of holes in that game.
Poole plus Clay plus that Steph. That feels really, really problematic when we don't know who can match that outside of De'Aaron, right? You don't know if it's going to be Malik or Keegan or Terrence or Domas or who. Like you know it's De'Aaron, right? Conversely, you know it's Steph. It's probably Clay, who's had a good series. You talk about playing your averages. It's what he's been all year. But now you got Poole cooking a little bit. It becomes, man, that's tough.
And this is what I would say. Maybe I'll flip this on the other side. That I think that's the best Warriors you can get. Obviously, Steph, instead of having 36, could have 46. Like I know he can have a higher point out total.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got everything from everybody yesterday. You got your Wiggins game, you got your Clay game, you got Poole. Draymond had 14 that we probably won't ever see again. Like you got everything. And if I'm the Kings, you won by 1, and I had 3 guys that didn't show up. Like, all right, we see your best punch. We're still standing, and we'll be ready to play better.
I got you, but you keep mentioning that the guys that didn't show up, and that's like my concern. That's what I feel like this series is going to be. We keep asking. We were asking for Keegan, right? Well, the idea is Keegan ascends, does what he did yesterday, while Harrison continuing to do what he's done this series, but he didn't, and that's what my concern is. It feels like someone gets, for lack of a better term, left behind.
Right. So, but the one guy we're talking about though is Sabonis.
Yeah.
Like the trio of Harrison, Huerter, and Barnes, they may not, like you just meant, they may all 3 of them not play good at all at the same time in the series. It's just going to be one of the ones that are play well. And I think if that happens, hopefully, and you get a good Sabonis, right? Yeah. And you get a good Sabonis, I think that's good enough to win. So I'm not saying you need a good Sabonis and 2 of those 3 playing well. Like I think you just need one of them to play well, which we've seen that throughout this series, and you need a better performance by Sabonis, and I think that's enough to win. You didn't get that last night. You only got one of them playing well, and Sabonis not playing good.
And what throws this whole conversation kind of into flux here is, and you tell me if you feel different, the Kings, probably regardless of De'Aaron's status, like De'Aaron almost certainly is going to be hindered somehow, whether it's in his effectiveness or just even more simply in his minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably moving forward for the next, whether it's 2 games or 3 games or however long the series winds up going, you probably need a different game from Sacramento. Like you talk about points being reallocated, we're probably going to have to reallocate a lot of this stuff. Talk about only one of those 3 in Keegan Harrison and Kevin Huerter getting going. That's not going to work now. Yeah. Because of where De'Aaron is at with the fracture in his shooting hand and in the finger. Again, regardless of whether he plays or not, you're going to need more. It can't be one of those guys. Mm-hmm. It's going to have to be 2. It might have to be 2.5. Like maybe you don't get a big outing. Maybe you only wind up with 9-10 points from Harrison, but you wind up with 9 or 10 points from Harrison on 4 or 5 shots. That reads differently than the 1 of 6 from 3 that you just mentioned a minute ago. That just simply means he hit a couple baskets, but the opportunities weren't there, or he found other guys in those situations, and Kevin Huerter took advantage, or Keegan Murray takes advantage. We looked back on the series. That was, of course, the plan today, was to look back on the series, but now we have to reshuffle things and look ahead and think things probably have to be a little bit different starting Wednesday. Unless De'Aaron can go out there and drop 42 with a fractured finger.
Right. That'd be crazy.
I mean, shout out to Hunter Patterson. I'm sure the timing is making him sick, but he just wrote an article, The Athletic, that just popped up on our push notifications now, talking about how De'Aaron has arrived. De'Aaron is doing exactly what we've begged for. The stage, and arguably, I think it's fair to say, and Bonte Hill can pick this remark apart all he wants to. This is the biggest stage in this first round of the playoffs. This is the biggest series. It's been the most entertaining. It's been the best. It's been the most talked about, and it's the only one that hasn't been on NBA TV. The Lakers and Grizzlies were on NBA TV. The Celtics were on NBA TV.
I don't think the Lakers got on NBA TV.
The Lakers and Grizzlies weren't on NBA TV game 2?
No, that was on TNT.
3?
3 was Saturday.
Oh, 3 was Saturday. Point being,
but
I'd argue this is the biggest.
This is the best one. This is has been high profile from opening night.
And he's done everything we've asked. He's taken that same step that Ja Morant took, that Donovan Mitchell took, that Jamal Murray took, that all those steps that those guys took in the postseason that ascended them to a different status. De'Aaron Fox has done that here in this first round series. Now this can add to the legend, certainly if they're able to win this series with him playing with a fractured freaking thumb or a fractured freaking finger, as Kurt Angle might say.
That'd be crazy if he's able to put up the same numbers.
No, that'd be absolutely insane.
Even close to it, really.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely
like if he plays,
insane.
I'd be impressed with 21 if he plays. You know what I mean?
I honestly, we didn't mention, I don't think Kobe did that. I don't think Kobe went out there and put big numbers up when he in the immediate aftermath of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at that because I know eventually he started killing.
Eventually he did. Yeah, because he did this early. Didn't he do it at the beginning of a year? A beginning of a season?
I can't remember. I want to say it was around January, but it could have been beginning of the year. Could have been.
Okay, January's okay. It's not. That's not the beginning, but it's.
But I know what you mean.
I guess
it wasn't. It wasn't at the end.
Yeah, and I know it wasn't in the postseason either. So,
right,
Jesse.
In 2000, when he had the broken finger in 2010, he injured that December of 2009.
There you go.
All right. Well, we'll start looking at his game logs from December of 2009 and see what
I remember reading an article about that. And like I said, it's a different placement. But I remember reading an article about how Kobe had to shoot the ball different, had to get a different backspin off the shot. Chuck Person was a coach for the Lakers at the time and was teaching him a different way to shoot with that. And like I said, it was a little different because like you mentioned earlier, it was around his knuckle and not at the tip of his finger. But even with that being said, I don't think Kobe like shot with the index finger on the ball. I think that was the crux of the story. Like he took that index finger off the ball when he shot, and he just shot with the middle ring and pinky a little bit.
That
was a Sports Illustrated story.
This is wild. Hey, Jesse, do you have the date? Do you have the date that he heard it?
Let me double check.
Okay. Because I'm just looking at his games in December. Bro, I just need to see. His games in December are absolute. Like I can guess where it happened, but the game logs for Kobe around this finger injury are kind of wild. There's a 42, a 39, a 28, a 28, 40, 35, 38. These are all in the month of December. 34, 44, 39. Oh, like he had a game versus Minnesota on December 11th where he scored 20. The following game against Utah, he scored 16. Played 34 and 36 minutes respectively.
From what I see, December 12th, 2009.
That's when he heard it?
That's when he heard it.
So that was 16 he scored 16 versus Utah. The next night, he scored 42.
December 12th.
He scored 42 the next night. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely absurd.
And then so I'm looking at this. Okay, yeah, it was the same thing where he never got surgery on it. And then there was an article came out where he said his finger might not ever be the same again. Didn't seem to bother him. But once again, it was on the knuckle. So they both are terrible either way, but I just feel like it's a little different. It's a different adjustment than that. I don't know how Fox is going to do it with on the tip, and he's going to have like a bandage on it, and he can't feel the basketball with the tip of his
bandage Fox. The irony over his frustration with the Band-Aid. Bandage Fox. Well, you know what's so crazy?
I don't know how that's going to happen. He's going to be a beast for even trying to play with that. That seems
it's
tough.
So crazy we're talking about that much real estate. Sorry to the radio audience. We're talking about a very small amount of real estate. Like it's not your knee, it's not your whole lower extremity, it's not your hip, it's not your wrist, it's not we're talking like this much.
I'm gonna tell you this though, that there's anybody that would have, that quote unquote Mamba mentality, I'm very confident saying De'Aaron Fox would. De'Aaron, like you continue to say, I agree with you 100%. If he can go, he's gonna play.